Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone is having an amazing morning so far. Glad to have you guys here. So we have ourselves a pretty big update on the tropics here as we are watching a system that is brewing in the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to be talking about where it's heading, how strong it's going to be, and what we can expect out of it. Now, guys, before we go ahead and get on into it, if you have not already, consider hitting that subscribe button, leaving a like. Be greatly appreciated. And all right, my friends, let's go ahead and get on into it. Alrighty, so we're taking a look here at the current satellite view as of 6 o'clock in the morning here for today. We actually obviously can tell we have a pretty good circulation already starting to occur with this system. However, there is one problem that is really limiting it in terms of rapid strengthening. So as you notice, like I said, there is a low pressure system here. You can actually see how it is swirling counterclockwise. And you might notice how the center low is right here, and we have all of this convection, all this thunderstorm activity really pushed up to the northeast. Now that is telling us that we have some strong upper level winds that is basically pushing all of that thunderstorm activity to the northeast. Now what does this mean? Well, this typically means that these storms, if they undergo this, typically don't strengthen as quickly. So that will definitely hurt its overall performance in terms of what we're expecting out of strength. There is a lot of lightning activity that is kicking off in the northeastern quadrant of the storm where the thunderstorms are located. This is honestly good because it is showing a lot more organized thunderstorm activity. Compared to yesterday when we were looking at the system, there was hardly any organization at all. And this morning, I tell you what, it does look a little bit better, even though we are seeing that strong upper level shear we were just talking about. Alrighty, so now we need to talk where and when and how strong. So whenever it comes to the models here, this is the main hurricane model, the HWRF, or one of the main hurricane models. So there's some really interesting stuff on this in particular model. So as you can see, the time's in the top right if you guys want to follow along. Note that this is in Eastern time. So if you're in the Central time, just simply subtract an hour. But anyways, we track our way down here in time. Now this is really interesting. Now according to this model, as we approach literally by later on this evening, this model has it getting down to 1,000 millibars, which if you don't know, that's some pretty strong low pressure. And in some cases, that could theoretically be tropical storm force. But like I said, I don't expect this thing to become a tropical storm here today overall. I actually mentioned this here over the last little bit. Now, something I do want to actually mention with you guys is the overall winds here as well. As we track our way down here in time, kind of for early tomorrow morning, it kind of has a little kick up here according to this model. Now, note that this is obviously, not perfect. Models are not perfect, but just note that it does show a little area here where we potentially could be seeing well over tropical storm force winds. Now, that's something that's going to be pretty important as we continue to watch this here overall. So as we track our way down here even further in time, obviously here for basically the late second, this is kind of at its peak here, as you can kind of see, potentially even down to 993 millibars, according to the HWRF model, which, like I said, that's some pretty strong low pressure. That pressure alone would be near tropical storm force alone. Now, I do want to tell you guys that the Hurricane Center, the hurricane hunters, the people who fly into the hurricanes, are going to be studying the storm today. They are going to be going out and flying into the storm to get some data on it. So we'll definitely get a lot more information on the system here later on this afternoon. We're going to be live later on this evening, so I can give you guys more of an update here in terms of what we can expect. But overall, I tell you what, then this thing actually tracks its way down here further south, according to what you're going to see in the future, what the main models have to say about it. And obviously kind of goes there kind of west of Cuba. So there's kind of western Cuba right there. As you can kind of see the system just kind of scraping right between it, which I find really, really interesting. So overall, out of this model, things are looking pretty strong and potentially up to tropical storm force. All right, now next up we have ourselves another big hurricane model. This one's called the HMON. Now, in terms of what this model overall has to say, honestly, it kind of keeps it relatively simple and nothing too crazy, unlike the HWRF. This one has it getting as low as 1,000 millibars for the most part. But the thing is that this system's a little bit different, or this model's a little bit different, as we can actually see here. So I remember the last model, how it kind of showed it going past western Cuba. Now, this thing actually approaches western Cuba, as you can see here, but this one dives right over Cuba. Now, if this was the case, obviously, Cuba's geography does have a lot of mountain ranges, which could obviously, hurt development out of the system. But overall, it has it tracking relatively over Cuba, going through southern Florida here, tracking over the Bahamas, and then out into the Atlantic. So obviously, in between both of those models, instead of a direct south approach, this one kind of takes a big U. So there is obviously a lot of unknown still. Like I said, with the Hurricane Center or the Hurricane Hunters going out later, this will actually help simplify or help bring the models to an agreement by getting more actual data of what's going on inside the storm. So that will be very, very helpful for later. All right, so when we take a look here at the main hurricane models in regarding to where the system is going to be ending up, as it does seem to be The models have came to a really good agreement that this thing will be starting to track its way to the south, kind of just go right next to western Cuba here, and then kind of maybe just shift its way up here to the northeast over the Bahamas. So, like I said, in the previous runs from, the models from the last 2 days or so, they were having it going right over Florida. Now, that seems to be the main change on this system here overall, is the fact that the direction of the storm has definitely altered quite a bit. So it is going to be moving to the south, going to be impacting portions of western Cuba, and then is expected in the long range to be moving its way back up to the northeast, potentially over Bahamas. Now, when it comes to the strength out of the main hurricane models, most of them do have this thing remaining under tropical storm force. If we take the median here, you can kind of see how we are expected just to kind of hover around 25 knots maximum winds, obviously with higher gusts, potentially up to maybe 30, 35 knots could be possible with this. So overall, what it seems like right now is that it's going to remain under tropical storm force. We'll take a look at the Hurricane Center here in a moment. They actually have only a 20% chance for this thing to overall form into a tropical storm here. So like I said, mostly expected to remain under tropical storm wind speeds. However, some of those gusts people could experience could be up to tropical storm force, maybe up to around 40, 45 miles per hour at maximum as of now. Now, please note that this is not a final word, and things can definitely change with the later runs here. So like I said, honestly, compared to what I've seen yesterday with this map, things have actually gotten more stronger. So we're going to have to continue watching this here over the next several days as the system is brewing its way across the Gulf of Mexico and into the Caribbean potentially. All right, now as mentioned before here, the Hurricane Center only has a 20% chance probability of a formation into a tropical cyclone in the next 7 days, which is fairly low. But honestly, if you want to know my opinion, I think that this could be upgraded. I think that probability should be starting to increase. Now, like I said, what we just looked at there is obviously the models are still relatively kind of in the zone where there's, kind of expected to be under tropical storm force. But like I said, though, I honestly think that, since we've been seeing this since yesterday, I've been seeing an uptrend every single run to where I think the probability of a tropical cyclone is actually improving. So we'll have to continue watching this. Once again, as I mentioned before, the hurricane hunters are flying in later on, so that will get a lot of key information in terms of what we can expect later down in time. Alrighty, my friends, well, that's going to go ahead and wrap up the video. If you guys did enjoy it, leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you have not already. It'll be greatly appreciated. If you guys do want to support the channel, we do have our Cash App down below if you guys would like to check that out and send us a few dollars that could help out to the programs and stuff like that. Be greatly appreciated. So thank you guys absolutely so much. Once again, we are going live here later on tonight to give you guys another update, a live update on the tropics, probably sometime around maybe 5, 6 o'clock p.m. So hope you guys stay tuned for that. All right, my friends. Well, that's going to go ahead and do it. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful morning, and I will see you guys here in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See you later.